realize today is Friday the 13th. So it's a good day to talk spooky
vero,
stuff. Friday the 13th today. Guys, I am here with the great Fabio Frizzi and excellent musician Riccardo Rocchi. Did I get that right? Perfect. Thank you guys for coming on. I mean, this is a pleasure because a lot of, if not all my subscribers, followers know that music is my #1 passion. Then film and everything is right after that. So to be able, I talk with a lot of the guests I've had on, the directors, you know, the writers, actors, but to be able to, you know, have a breath of fresh air and talk music with you guys, and then Richard Band, great composer I had on, Colin Towns. So to be able to switch it up and talk music is a nice treat for sure. So Fabio, how did you get into playing music? What started your musical journey?
I started not very young. I mean, today we see I have a school here in Roma, and sometimes there are kids of 4, 5, 6 years. I started a little later. I was more or less 14. I was uno sportivo. I did a lot of sport, but I had to stop a little bit because I had some small problems. So, you know, I was crazy. I cannot go. and my dad had the great idea to call a maestro of guitar, and I started studying guitar. So after 1 year, I had bands, I had classical groups, everything, because in fact I loved music so much. And then my first instrument, my first love was with me, guitar.
Yeah, guitar. That was a question too. I had. It seems the same for you, Riccardo. Is guitar your primary instrument? Is that what you started with?
Yes. To tell the truth, my first love was electronic music.
Okay.
And
I like
when I was 12, 13 years old, I was composing electronic music, and I also had a contract with LCB Records that was specialized in techno at that time. Anyway, after this first love, I had a trip in Madrid with the school, with my school. Okay, vacation. And I entered in a music store, something like Virgin. I don't remember very well, and it was Andrea Segovia on the air, a recording of Segovia. And I immediately fell in love. Since then, guitar was my life. Anyway, when I came back to Italy, I started to have lessons of flamenco guitar firstly, and then classical guitar. So I had a degree in conservatoire, and then the degree I started my concert career. So I always wanted to become a performer.
Playing guitar.
I also love to become a film composer, but this is another story, maybe another time.
No, I mean, great always, and it seems a lot of the times musicians, even if they play one instrument, we're always just creative people, and always different creative endeavors, you know, that we seem to go down. But 3 guitarists we have here. I started with guitar at 11, 12 years old. I self-taught myself guitar. And I went to the Crane School of Music at SUNY Potsdam for 2 years. Didn't graduate, but I learned a lot there. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, guitar has always been it for me as well. For both of you, when do you think what was the event that made you realize I can do this as a career now? I can make music my career. What do you think was the event in your lives that happened that made you, okay, I can do this?
Yeah, I can start telling you that obviously after guitar, my maestro was a composer. So after a while, I started playing piano. I started studying composing. And when I was more or less 18, I started writing music. But till I can tell you, till one movie in particular, when I was 24, I had done some, but this was a success in Italy. It was called Fantozzi. And since that moment, I understood that maybe I could try to live doing the musician.
Yeah. So that movie was what year?
Yeah, it was 1975.
Okay, because we have Zombie, of course, was the big movie, the big breakthrough, which you guys just finished your you guys just finished your Zombie, what is it, Composer's Cut tour, right? You guys just finished.
Now,
How was that? How was that?
Yeah, it was great. It was the second Zombie tour because my idea was to do 1 month in September, and you know we came it's last September, and great markets, great cities. Then we had some places we had we had to do to lose because you cannot stay there for 2 months. So it is too much. Yeah. So we decided to come back after 6 months, more or less, to do the other places. So let's say that in this case we did not have West Coast, unfortunately, because we have so many friends over there. But we did more Texas, more Canada. We went to do 3 dates in Canada with an incredible success in Montreal. I could not imagine that it was full of people. Great venue. It was a fantastic place. But so we just went back to Chicago because over there we have a friend in Regis. Regis is a great place where to play, and then many other different things. We went back to a place we love so much, which is New Orleans. New Orleans.
Okay, New Orleans. Yeah, I mean that's one of the music hotspots.
Yeah,
it always has. I mean, that's great. So speaking of the tour, how did you guys both meet? How long have you guys known each other? When did you first meet Riccardo? When did you meet Fabio? Vice versa? Yeah, you too.
Yeah, Frizzi Fulci was born in 2013.
Okay, so 2013, and that's when you joined Riccardo, joined the band, and started playing with Fabio?
Yeah, it was one of the first choice.
Yeah, it's a very... you're a great player, man. I've watched a few of the videos you have on Facebook.
You know, he will tell you after how we met and everything. But I mean, when you choose to do a project like that, important and then quite difficult because those music are not so easy to play. You must have a great band, a good number of fantastic musicians. So it was a long time to find them, and almost 1 year. Yes. But in the end, till today, we are more or less the same as the beginning.
I mean, that's great, and it shows a consistency that's there, and that you made the right choice from the beginning with the musicians. You know, to have, because you know how often bands change. You know, band members come and go, but when you find the right people, you find the right ones. It really, you can do some magic. Which, speaking of, like you're saying, how the music is more complicated to play, I always got a big progressive rock type feel from your compositions and music. Like I was always a big fan of Yes, Genesis, Rush, you know, those type of bands from the 70s. Did that have any big influence on you and your music? Because you're very progressive sounding, some of your stuff.
It's always something difficult to say. I mean because there are influences, everybody of us has. But in a way, day after day, you have to you try to create your style. But I have to admit that in the beginning, the prog was one of the. I can tell you one story. When I met my great friends Goblin, they weren't still Goblin. They were a band, Claudio, Fabio, Massimo, and they were playing. They were recording a new album. And Claudio told me, "You want to come with me? I want to introduce to you Fabio." It was the first time. So I entered the studio, small studio, and I can hear a bass, a solo from this bass. Fantastic. So I stay. I enter, and there is Fabio with this Rickenbacker. Yeah. Who was playing, is a great bass player. He's like a friend of mine. We worked a lot together as well. But and I was like in like a religious silence. I was like that because, and I knew after that that Fabio was a yes great follower. He loved so much that kind.
Yeah.
And
those are favorites of mine.
Yeah, I think. And so, yeah, Genesis, my brother was crazy for Genesis and everything. But the first ones, I mean, with Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, Peter Gabriel, yeah. After he left, it got a little more poppy, the music.
Yeah,
music.
bravo. That's and then in the cult of the Kings, the Kings
of King Crimson. Yeah, King Crimson's great.
Wow, another good. So I mean, I ate a lot of this music, and then after I produced,
we played in London.
We played in London. See, yeah, because once I wanted to sing that song, the in the cart of the Crimson King, and we did it.
That's a great album.
It's bellissimo, bellissimo. So this is obviously you can imagine, and sometimes when I'm in America, I enjoy for that. The very first love was acoustic guitar and American West Coast music,
like folk music, like folk acoustic music. Okay, yeah.
So, and I still love it. I have plenty of guitars around here in my house.
Yeah, I have just guitars everywhere too. I've learned. I've played over the years. I've learned, some piano. I've learned some mandolin, bass, but guitar has always been my primary thing. Riccardo, what would you say some of your biggest influences musically, guitar-wise? Because we know you started with the electronic music, which I love electronic music too, all different kinds. So once you started playing guitar, what would you say your biggest influences guitar playing would be?
As I said before, my first love was Tangerine Dream and Crafter, and I still listen to them.
They're great.
They're
so good.
Yeah. Anyway, very soon guitar became my absolute first love. Andrea Segovia, as I told you before, was my first imprinting in classical guitar. And then during my studies, absolutely, and I'm rediscovering right now these days because he's great. John Williams, classical guitar.
Brilliant player.
Yeah, incredible. But only for his mentality, not only for his great ability on the instrument. He has always been really open-minded. Now that he is 84, it is incredibly open-minded. But okay. Yeah. Then also Paco de Lucia, obviously Paco de Lucia, for flamenco.
Paco de Lucia.
Yes, but I also love many artists of the English folk baroque, like John Rambo. John Rambo?
Okay. Yeah.
Bert Jansch. Yeah, because they have the ability to mix classical guitar, classical music with folk and Bach,
absolutely,
baroque in general. So I had a period almost completely dedicated to acoustic guitar, steel strings guitar.
Yeah,
so
there's something about that sound of an acoustic, just a steel string acoustic. There's something about that sound that it's just, it feels like home. When you go and you're just playing an acoustic guitar, it's just like going home. What was the first piece of music, Riccardo, that you heard of Fabio's? Did you hear it in a movie, or were you like, how did you come across Fabio's music?
You have to know that I am also an avid film score collector since I was a child, since 1982. As a musician, I wanted to have a great love for cinema in general, horror firstly, but I wanted to mix these two passions. So I became a film score collector. And my preferred scores was those in which the guitar has its first role. Anyway, when I bought the CD of City of the Living Dead, Paura nella città dei morti viventi, obviously that legendary riff from the 12 strings guitar was in my head. And the
It's
first
so good.
time, I met him, I played for him. Maybe
That's great.
we could speak about something interesting, because Frizzi Fulci at the time was burning.
Exactly.
But if you want, I will tell the story. It is fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was 2012, I had a guitar project in my mind. I wanted to create a guitar project, asking to some film composer writing original scores for me, but not transcriptions of pre-existing scores, really original pieces written for guitar for me. I asked to some composer. Some of them answered me, and others no, but it's okay. Fabio didn't answer for some months, but I keep writing him 3-4 times, and the first day of September, he answered me with some apologies, because he was in vacation in the USA. If you remember,
Absolutely.
in the USA. So he told me, "Hey, Riccardo, I have to tell that my guitar writing is a little bit complex, and I wanted you to know that." Okay. If I can send you a CD promo of myself, you listen, and then maybe. Okay. After some days, he wrote me again on Messenger with his number. Okay, call me please as soon as possible. We had our first meeting in the studio. We had a beautiful morning, because we talked about life, our wives, women, daughters, songs, but almost nothing about music. I imagined to play all the time, but I played only 5 minutes at the end of this show. And the most fun thing is that I had in my mind to propose him to create a project in which he could pay homage to Fulci. So create a musical show. But it was in my mind. Before I told this, Fabio asked me, "What do you think about Frizzi Fulci? It is my project," and the rest is story. So I feel very, very proud of this. And
I mean, it's got to be amazing after all these decades how popular the Fulci films, especially, because I mean, Fabio, you did scores for a lot of the Italian. Martino, I think you did a film or two for. Lamberto Bava, you did a few films for, but Fulci was the one you did a lot of work for. But it's got to be amazing all these decades later how popular these films became and how big and popular these scores have became over the decades.
But I understood that something had happened when the internet became something different. I mean, in the beginning, I was using the internet for many things, but when social media started, not just Facebook, but just before Facebook, there were things in which musicians could communicate, could exchange ideas, and I used that. Then Facebook, and Facebook was a revolution, totally revolution. And I understood something that now for me it's quite clear, and it is that for many reasons our genre movies are very loved, not just not only in America, but north of Europe,
all over
Orient, in many places. One of my typical phrases that I think that in every place in the world there is at least one Fulci fan. One. You could, you could go Himalaya, you could find there something. So I noticed that because since 2005 or last time, everybody came in my studio. Please, can I ask you some questions about Lucio? And there were the first extra of the first remake of the movies from Lucio. So
when they started reissuing them and stuff like that. Okay.
So
Yeah,
true.
I mean the internet definitely. I mean YouTube, Facebook, like you mentioned, YouTube too, because people would post all the music and all this back in when it first started. So that was
Exactly.
like the source, like online on the internet to find music would be YouTube, and they started posting all the movie scores and stuff, and then they started posting movies, from that era that nobody really saw or heard of unless you were a diehard horror fan and you knew about Fulci's films and Italian films. You had to track them down back then. But when YouTube and Facebook and all those social media came around, that's when you really started to see just
Yeah.
how popular these movies started getting over time. And I think every year it gets just
Yeah.
more and more popular, more and
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
popular. Is all those films.
And this is quite weird because I mean, today we came 3 weeks ago, and just one of the 1,000 stories of a tour in Atlanta. In Atlanta, as you say, we were. It was the last concert, and there were two brothers, one a little younger, the other one, but young. I mean, maybe 35. The
Yeah.
tallest was absolutely moved. Told me, Fabio, it seems, and the other ones were telling me, hey, I know it's like that. I mean, people who love that movie, that music, and myself, I mean, since a lot of time, since they were young, and this is it goes ahead, and every time, and now we will talk about the fact that the first Frizzi Fulci was a concert, just a concert with many themes from each movie. Then,
Yeah.
for a reason that we will tell you after, we started with movies, with cine concerts, with the movies, and obviously this changed a little bit. But in fact, I think they know Zombi very well, but they come.
Yeah.
And they are with us, and they enjoy everything. And everything I changed, they notice. This is different. So
That's that's great. That's something I was going to ask too. Was
uh,
what is it like playing these compositions? All these years later, and what do you both try to bring new to playing them live? Since these are decades old compositions, I'm sure you're always trying to do something new, like you just said, and sneak new harmony or something in there. So, like, what do you both try to bring to these compositions live? Playing them nowadays that kind of keeps them fresh.
yeah, I can tell you that one of the most incredible situation was with the Lucio's daughter, Antonella Fulci. She came one of the first time we did the movie. I think it was the Beyond. Yes, the Beyond. And she told us in the end of the concert, Fabio, I've seen the Beyond thousands of times. Tonight
it's on right now on my TV in the background.
She told me, with the composer's cut, it's something totally new. And this was a great gift for Fabio. You can imagine.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. That's amazing. So, Riccardo, what do you try to bring new to as a guitarist, playing these songs live? Do you do any improv like during these compositions, or do you just try a new thing like every now and then, try to throw in something new? What's your approach to it, like keeping these compositions fresh after all these years?
It's very interesting. I play every note Fabio wrote on our music. I tell the truth, I never improvise. There is the other guitarist, Francesco, that sometimes some improvisations, but everything it is written in some way. Also that,
well, especially the complicated nature of the songs too. I mean, it would call for less improv.
Okay, what can I say? What can I say? That I put some experience of my classical guitar studies to this kind of situation. In which way? For example, thinking about some fingerings that can be more expressive for some phrases. Yeah. But it is interesting because sometimes I change it. But here in the original CD, I found that something was better in the original, that with some more complicated fingerings that you can put with your classical guitar experience. So every situation.
Okay, yeah, like different phrasings,
Yes,
and
because
it'll open you up.
I asked him, but down, dim, da, dun, da, dun, down, na, 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 in which way it was
Yeah.
better to play. And, I don't remember in which way I played. And he put his fingers at the 7th fret. And so, in the beginning, I was playing that in a different way. And we change very often.
Yeah.
It is always there is a critical approach to the scores, and we try to let play the notes and the chords in the best way as possible, in a term of expression.
Exactly. It's quite easy to exchange ideas because I play also keyboard, I play synth, but basically I was born as a guitarist, so it's the same language we understand. For example, in classical situation, I liked so much to write with come si dice corda a vuoto?
Free strings.
With free strings like E and B, no, and he understands perfectly, and the sound grows in the way we love. I love.
As soon as he write new things or rearrange things of suites, he send me the parts, the sheet music. I try to learn as soon as I can. So I record with my phone in a very Spartan way, but you can understand if the things it works or not.
Also because we are talking basically about Lucio, but I'm still doing. I ended a movie last week, and he played in that new movie. So.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's great. Black Eyed Susan was a film that you did recently, Fabio. Did you play on that, Riccardo? Did Riccardo play on that at all?
Yeah. I played classical guitar parts. It was a great experience.
It's a great score.
It wrote a great score. And I have to say that the film is very, very strong. You watch it, I know.
Yeah.
And but I love body horror films. I think something like Cronenberg in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it was really an honor for me to play for those scooter film that it is something like a masterpiece, I have to say.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Yeah.
You know, it was not easy to decide which kind of music to write for that movie. Luckily, Scooter is like a friend, like a brother to me. We met many years ago. There is a great affect, a great love among us. So I know that he gave me totally freedom to, and I suggested there are some scenes that are not easy also to tell. I mean, in those scenes, I remember there is one that they are near, and you can imagine in what I did. And I decided to try like a song with a voice, and I put.
I remember that.
Remember, I put that idea, and immediately Scooter sent me a message that said that scene was so difficult to shot, and you created something, the possibility to put in the movies, because obviously with the music changes a little bit the perspective.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I love so much.
I think that's probably the biggest, the biggest pleasure for you out of composing scores is just the different feel you can give to a film. Just by the music you create for it, you can make a completely different movie.
This is the magic of my.
This
is the real magic of my job.
Like just certain things, like in City of the Living Dead, the last part of the score when they're in the crypt at the end and stuff that sounds similar to the Zombie score but a different melody. That's my favorite composition of yours. I love City of the Living Dead and the Beyond too. Those movies are up there. Sette Notte and Nero is another score that's up there. Very underrated score too, I feel, and movie too. The Psychic. I feel like the Psychic isn't talked about it as much as Fulci's other films. I don't want to take too much of your time up because I know you're busy. I just have 2 more questions here. One was, were you guys always horror fans? Or when did you get into horror movies?
He is a horror fan.
That's for both of you, Riccardo
I love
and Fabio.
movies. So if there is a fantastic movie, horror movie, I love it. Otherwise, maybe not. But he's a real fan.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I am.
You're the bigger horror fan.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I'm avid film score. Film Blu-rays also. CD film score CD also. Nice. I started watching horror films since I was a boy. My first film was The Exorcist. I watched it under the covers of my bed, far from my parents. But it was shocking. It was shocking, seriously. I didn't sleep for long. I had 10 or 11 years. I was very young, but I have to say that since The Exercise, I never stopped watching horror films. I love the metaphorical meanings always hidden in the plot.
Yeah, that and the morality and social commentary and everything. George Romero
I like the atmosphere. The atmosphere, also obviously the music. Yes, I can say that
the music is one of the biggest things for me about the horror genre.
Yes, nowadays I love Joseph Bishara. He is also a friend of ours.
Yeah,
he writes great scores with strings. A few of electronics, but very few. It's great. Chris Young, obviously, but I think too much. As I can say,
we still love when in the music there is some theme to remember.
Yes, we love themes. Yeah, and too much electronic music, but with rumors.
Sound design.
Okay, the term is sound design. Sound design is okay, but sometimes it is too much nonsense for me because all music need to be thematic. And I saw your Terrifier
thematic and organic.
I love the music because he wrote a really great dance. The composer of Terrifier. It is iconic. Right now it is just iconic. I feel very lucky to be part of Lucio Fulci also because of that. Because I could never imagine to play guitar in horror books. So it's a dream come true, really a dream come true.
I can imagine, man. I mean, and it's great hearing your contributions to it. I didn't, like I said, I wasn't sure if you played on the Black Eyed Susan score, but now I know you did, and it sounded like from the videos I saw of your guitar playing, sounded like a similar style. So I thought it was possibly you, but great scoring, great playing. For both of you, then we'll wrap this up. What's next for you guys? Fabio, any new projects coming? Riccardo, any new projects coming for you guys?
For me, but it's the problem is that the project are too many. So like in a table, you have many lights, and every now and then you say you see that light, and you have to follow a little bit, but maybe the other lights are now. I think nowadays I think some new movies. The Italian cinema is in a great crisis. More or less like all over the world, but I always hope. I'm doing a lot of cortometraggi, short. It's full of these also beautiful things. Since last year, I did maybe 5 or 6, and they are beautiful movies, but they are short, so they are not what we love. Let's hope. The other thing is that obviously. What's next in Frizzi Fulci? Many ideas.
Yes.
For example, there is, but this for now it's just a dream to do a studio record and studio album with everything we played since the beginning.
That would be great.
Yeah, because we have a lot of bootleg everywhere. No, they give you. So we have beautiful things, but I would like to have a regular, real. Studio album.
record it in your way, record it in your style and your
Bravo.
vision and everything. Absolutely. That would be great. I'd love to hear that. I'll be looking out for that.
Yeah,
as
it's
time
not,
goes on.
it's not easy because I think it would be a triple, and you need a discographic that can help you to do it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Will see.
So we can hope. And Riccardo, anything new projects coming your way, or anything you're doing now?
I would like to record a new guitar album, and maybe that project that I told you before, because it was free.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yes, I never recorded, and so I would like to do this guitar album with original pieces wrote for me. Then obviously I hope that we will do as many as concerts possible with this guy all over the world.
That's great.
So Frizzi Fulci will be always my first busy time. Okay? And then I have also a new classical guitar project with a friend. I have a new guitar duo, and we had our first concert 2 weeks ago. And I think that parallel to my Frizzi Fulci project, I would like to perform any concert with my classical guitar with his friends, Gabriele. Also as a soloist, as always. I am basically a soloist. These two different life, but not so much different, if you think about it.
Anticipation.
I know what you mean. I mean, there's definitely a difference.
Yeah.
What were you saying,
But, I was telling that if you want some anticipation on concerts, we will be in London 2 days before Halloween. In a new theater. I think in London will be the Beyond. I think, and in Helsinki, Finland, will be the day after. So we are preparing some European concert, very, very beautiful in a great town.
Awesome. And afterwards, if you guys both want to send me either links for a website or for the tour or any projects, I'll put it in the description of the video. That way, if anybody, when people watch this, they can look down there and they can click on any of that. But I don't want to take up too much of your time. I can't thank you guys enough for coming on here and talking. This has been an absolute pleasure talking with you guys.
Thank you.
Like I said, it's always a great, chance and opportunity to talk with the composers, and the musicians behind, these horror films that we all love, instead of, always with just talking on the film side. So to talk on the music side, it's always a blast. And I really can't thank you guys enough. Those who watch this in the future, thanks for watching. Yeah, this is the great Fabio Frizzi and Riccardo Rocchi, everybody.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.